Updating the CFR for the Environmental Legal Research course at Boston College Law School. On Monday, September 16th, 2019, I went to the ECFR, which at that time had data current to Thursday, September 12th, 2019. That's 2 business days. I was looking for 40 CFR Section 300 Appendix B to find out if MGM Brakes in Cloverdale, California is on the national priorities list for the National Oil and Hazardous Substance Pollution Contingency Plan, and I found it there. But I'm a suspicious person. I had heard something about that property being taken off the list. So I went to govinfo.gov to find the regulatory information called CFR Parts Affected from the Federal Register, which is taken from the User's Aids section of the Daily Federal Register. We can select a time frame or a particular date range, but I heard this rumor today, so I'm going to just look at changes to the CFR in the last 24 hours. Scrolling down to Title 40, we can click on the little plus sign next to Title 40 and then the plus sign next to Part 300 to reveal a final rule to delist the MGM Brakes Superfund site. I can click on text or PDF to see the actual rule. The text version makes copying and pasting easier. It's also easy to see here that the effective date is September 16th, 2019, the day I made these screen captures. I like using the PDF version. I find it easier to read or scan. The Federal Register explains what agency the agency is taking and why, the agency response to comments received, and the actual amendment to the CFR. An even easier to read and scan version of this final rulemaking is available on federalregister.gov. This is the table of contents for today's issue. Using the calendar on the right, we could jump to another day's tables of contents, but we're just going to scroll down to the agency making this rule, the Environmental Protection Agency. There's a link to the PDF version of this Federal Register document, but I prefer to use the link to the FR document. This easy-to-read document has a link on the left to an enhanced table of contents that helps provide quick access to different parts of this Federal Register document, and on the right are important details pulled out of the document for quick access. If instead of trying to read this regulation in the ECFR, I had gone to Westlaw instead, I would have found this red flag at the top of this regulation, alerting me to the fact that this regulation has been amended. Clicking on that flag, I'm taken to a page that links me to the Federal Register document on Westlaw. If I had looked for this regulation on Lexis, there's no indication that this regulation has been amended. I would need to know to check the document currency statement to see that this Code of Federal Regulations is only current through September 10th, almost a week ago. I would follow the same updating steps, except this time I might ask to see the changes to Title 40 within the last week, so I could find any changes that were made to this regulation since this code was last updated. Bloomberg Law was the biggest surprise of all. Clicking on the general information icon, I discover Bloomberg Law's CFR was updated today with today's Federal Register. Scrolling down, I see that MGM Brakes in Cloverdale, California has been removed from the National Priorities list, the same way it will look on all the other platforms in a few days as well. So the day I looked for this, Bloomberg CFR was completely up to date, and Westlaw CFR gave me a link to the change that had not been incorporated yet. But no matter which platform I use, I check the currency and find anything that isn't totally up to date using the CFR. Using the CFR parts affected from the Federal Register in the Federal Register.